Okay, let's get the pentathlon task working and finished. So we have a CSV file with names of competitors and the position that they finished in each of the 5 events. So very simple, very straightforward. What we want to achieve is having a program that's going to read in and store the details of each competitor, store the 5 positions that they achieved for those races, as well as the total for all of those events, which will allow us to work out the winner. So obviously first position in a race is better than 5th, so the person with the lowest overall total should be the winner. And we also have to have here another function that allows us to search for an individual user, tell them if they're not there and so on, and we'll probably want to have a quit option. So this is a very small project compared to probably what the coursework's like, but there's still a lot to it, so let's get stuck in. So first of all, now I've got them in the wrong place, that should be in here, is to start off with the read file part. So I'm going to create the main function, which is going to store all of our data. So I know in previous programs we've created different typed arrays. I'm just going to simplify this in all my parameters. I'm just going to use athlete data. So declare array to store all data on athletes. Let's try and get this one well spaced out, as well as commented get athlete data from read file. So again, not read filter. So I'm going to set athlete data equal to the return value from a function that we haven't created yet. So let's use read athletes as the name for that. No parameters passed in, so the brackets are empty. Now we can create that function read athletes. Not sure if that spelling is correct. So this will have a return value, so that is a function rather than a procedure, because it needs to return athlete data. Now in here, that athlete data is a local variable, so let's make a note of that. Declare local variable for athletes. I'm going to fix this spelling because it's going to annoy me. Athletes. I can't spell, I'm not sure. I'm so confused of whether that's correct or not. So just as long as the spelling is the same across it, yeah, I think that's right. So athlete data set to a blank array. Now obviously that will be a 2D array of records when we get our file open. So I've got a few of my old programs open here so I can relate to them in case there's anything I find tricky. So let's see if we can remember how to open and read files. So we open connection to file in read mode. So we set file equal to open file. Is it just open, maybe open, and then we put the name of the file, which is athletes.csv, careful of our spelling, and then we tell it to open in read mode. So hopefully when I run that we get no issues. Let's just check, seems to be fine. Then what we want to do is get each of the lines from that. So we use lines as a variable, read and store each individual line using one of the built-in functions, which is read lines. And again, just checking back, we've got the correct function. So it tells it the name of the file dot read lines. So we're reading lines. Where do we want to read the lines from? We want to read them from the file. So now lines, if we were to print that out, it will look horrible, and I'm just going to demonstrate that again to show what it looks like, totally unformatted. And the reason that's not working for me yet is I haven't called the main function to start it all off. So let's run that now. And you can see it's all horrible. It's displaying the commas. We need to strip off the different details, and we need to store that information. So maybe just print that out and make sure it's working so far. We've read all of the things in, so now we close the file. So we can say file.close. Now what we want to do is the same thing we're always doing for these read instructions. We want to iterate, we want to loop around every line in a file, strip it and store it. So repeat for all the lines. So for all lines in the file, so we can use the built-in predefined functions there again. So for I in range, starting at 0 index to the length of lines, perfect. Strip the non-text characters. So we set lines at I, and let's just check we're getting this one correct. Yep, equal to that current one because it is an array it's stored in at the moment. Lines at I dot strip to get rid of each of those characters. So let's just do another test here to see what we're dealing with at each point, and you can hopefully see it's becoming more refined compared to how it was printed previously, and we're now starting to see each of those individual things added up. So we now need to then append to the array, and we would do the name of our array, which is athlete data dot append lines at I. Hopefully running this time, no printing out, but now we could start to manipulate and print out data from that array. So let's try and print off the name of the last person in the list, which is number 5, but obviously we know that that's actually index 4, and we need to give 2 coordinates, and it's the first position in that 2D array we want to display. So if we run that now, we should have what's going on there, lines 4. Oh yeah, lines at I, position 0 to print out each of those. Obviously it's in the loop, which is why we're getting that. So it's printing the first character out of each one, sorry. We can print the names off this time. Let's pop that out of the loop so we don't have the loop happening. So if we print lines index 4, we should print off that full list. And then if we print off index 0 from that list, we should print out the first name. What's going wrong with that? 4-0. Well, it's working anyway, I don't have to do that. We'll just leave that for now. So we have the file being read, returned and stored, and it's now being passed back as a parameter to our main function here. So we've got all of that information stored. If we look back at what we've to achieve next, is we've got to write the names and total scores to a new file. So that's going to require a bit of iteration again. So we'll go back to the main, and we want to write names and total scores to new file. And what would be useful as well is if we append that data to the array to save us having to recalculate it here. So what we'll do is we'll have a return value of the updated 2D array equals calculate total, but it also needs the athlete data passed to it as a parameter so that it can do the calculations on it. So what will happen when we run this next is we'll get another new file at the top here. So if we create a new function called calculate total, and it's getting this parameter, and I'm just going to keep referring to it as athlete data, which means that we've passed the parameter in. It's a local copy. We don't have to declare it again here. You could if you wish, but this doesn't pass over it. This passes a copy over of the original. So anything we do to it in this calculate total function has no bearing on the original copy, which is why we need to pass it back as a parameter. So this is going to print out the total scores of and the names to a new file, but then we need to print out the winner. So we've got that coming in a different function. So I'm just going to use a variable called total, which will just set equal to 0. We'll be redeclaring it each time. So we need to open a connection to that new file, which we can just do by saying file equals open, and if we call it maybe total points.csv, and we want to open it to write to it, we're going to erase over anything that actually exists on there entirely. So let's see when we run it, hopefully if it works and there's no problem, it should open it. Now we've got an error appearing on line 40. Now this is my spelling. To be careful of the spelling there. So you can see when I ran it this time, the CSV file appeared that didn't exist before. So if I delete it, you can see obviously it disappears. If we run it again, we get a new file appearing. And what we want to do is kind of write a short, small CSV file, similar to how we read the file, but also slightly different. So what we need to do is calculate total final position. So we need to use a loop for all contestants. So that's going to be for I in range 0 to the length of athlete data. So that will repeat for each of the athletes. And what we'll do is we'll just build this up piece by piece in order to see how the file write part works. So I'll write the name of the competitor to file. So we can do file dot write, and we want to write out athlete data at I. So let's see what happens when we run this. When we get into the total points, you can see it's literally printing everything because we said print out position I, which is that one particular array. And then if we print out position 0, hopefully we don't get the same error we had before. Now this should erase that full file when we run it, so we can see there that we're getting a strange error that I can't actually figure out why it's printing both or not the individual one, which I'll need to check back on. I'm going to pause this video here to figure out this error. So everything's working fine till now. I just need to figure out why it's only giving me one character from the athlete data. So if you get it working to there, I'll put video 2 in it when I figure out what's actually wrong with this part.